What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. It's episode number 87. We're starting today's start off with yet another bid for Sesko, one of our young strikers who's been on the transfer list basically since the day we arrived, alongside Fagir and also Thiago Moraes as well. Like I mentioned before, the problem we've got at the moment is that these players are on just ridiculous wages right now. So it's not that clubs can't afford to meet the transfer fee we're asking for. Listen, I'd sell them for possibly half the price at this point. It's the salary that's the main issue. The clubs just can't afford to give those guys the wages they want. And as I mentioned before, players will take wage cuts in FIFA, but not normally when they're transferring from your club as opposed to going to your club. Oftentimes when you're negotiating salaries with players that you're signing, they might agree to a little wage cut for whatever reason, but when you're selling players, it's very rare that they'll go to a new club and be on a lower wage. If they're going to do that, it's not too common. So at the moment, it's it's like these guys are on very, very big salaries, and whilst they might be willing to take a minor pay cut, the clubs can't even afford that. So that's the reason why at the moment we've still got these guys here. And we're struggling to sell them on to different clubs. But still, for the first game of today's episode, it was Granada away from home, heading into this game on the back of a big win in the Champions League group opener. Granada away took a very early 2-goal lead. Pedro Porro already with his second goal of the season. Keane bagged that first, and then 29 minutes in, it is 5 in 5 for Ansu Fati. £170 million to bring him back to the Nou Camp from the Etihad Stadium, and I said it, he's going to be worth every single penny. 3-0 Barcelona. We had to wait a while to get our fourth goal. We would. 18 minutes to go. Tammy Abraham comes off the bench. It's all the backup strikers, because we had like 10 strikers when we came here to Barcelona. I was wondering who would be my man off the bench to replace Moise Kean. Would it be Luka Jovic, the Serbian, one of those strikers I mentioned earlier, or the English forward Tammy Abraham? Well, I've chosen the former Chelsea man as our backup striker, and at the moment, well, that's only his first goal, but I'll say this: he looks impressive from what I've seen in the early run-in. So he made it 4-0, and then 9 minutes to go, we will get our 5th goal of the game and a contender for goal of the season on match day 5. And who did it come through? I think you know. Ansu Fati stepping in from the left after a couple of little skill moves. Some lovely dribbling to keep holding the ball, along with the agility as well, the balance to stay on his feet on the slippy turf, and the finish as well from our number 17. Look, it's the most expensive signing of the series so far, but I'll say it again, worth every single penny. Bringing him back to Barcelona, a homegrown academy graduate, he has just been nothing short of sensational to start the season off. 6 goals in 5 games. He's going for that golden boot, and right now looking like a man on a mission. Still, following the game, as you can see, got a big bid for Raheem Sterling, our 4th one for the former Manchester City winger. Now, we rejected a bid from Watford, we rejected a bid from Manchester United, and from Real Madrid, our El Clasico rivals. However, I did negotiate this one with Bayern Munich. I asked the Germans for 92.5 mil. That is 24.5 mil over the current market valuation. And at 31 years old, Sterling is going to go to Germany in the January transfer window. Now, I've mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of Sterling. He's one of my favourite players in the Premier League. I love the guy. I think he's superb. And I think for all he's been through as well, the scrutiny he's faced in the media, especially when he was younger and he was just moving on from Liverpool to Manchester City. I remember around that time he got an awful lot of criticism and scrutiny in the British press. I think Sterling really has handled himself in such a tremendous professional manner, and for such a young man as well. He showed great levels of maturity during that time, and he's become one of England's stars, one of England's heroes, just a fabulous player, and also a tremendous young man as well. I'm a really massive fan of Sterling, but in the game at 31 years old and on £300,000 per week, listen, due to the rise of inflation, it's not too astronomical, I suppose, of a contract. But like I said earlier, what we need to do is restructure the wage bill here at Barcelona. I kind of like that realistic feel to it, because that's been the problem they've had in real life as well. So we've got to cut some contracts, we've got to sell some players, and for Sterling to go, he's 88 overall, so a tremendous player to have off the bench, don't get me wrong, but again, again. I think personally, as we look to assemble the Spanish core here with Barcelona, we laid down the groundwork in the summer window. There are other targets I'd like to bring in. So for me, Raheem Sterling's just one of those players who, like, I'd be fine giving a new contract to, but it needs to take a big pay cut, no doubt about that. And I think personally, for the money we could get right now for the 31-year-old, it's probably best to take the cash and look to reinvest in January. And you best believe I've got enough options on my transfer shortlist for more Spanish players to bring in to this Barcelona core we're assembling. So Sterling is off to Germany. He needs game time as well. You know, 88 overall, sat on our bench. He's 31 years old. He's not going to have many years left in his prime. He needs to go somewhere to play first team football. He'll get that at the Allianz Arena. And for the second game of today's episode, we hosted Osasuna here at the Nou Camp. And unfortunately, despite taking an early lead, this was a really tough game. Really tough indeed. Osasuna put us under a lot of pressure throughout the game. Ter Stegen had to make a couple of really good saves as well. And in the end, they scored a late leveller for our first draw of the season. And the bad news continued. Following the game, we saw that Tommy Yasu got a hyperextended knee injury and he'll be out for 4 weeks. So he's 85 overall, the Japanese defender. 3 clean sheets and 5. Decent start for him as well. But he's going to be out for the next month. So all I'll say is this. It's a good thing that I extended a contract with Tsoba and also brought in Rodri alongside Eric Garcia as well. We've got enough depth to cover now as the Japanese centre-half goes down for the next month. But yeah, 1 draw there against Osasuna. Pretty disappointing slip up there. And, you know, as I mentioned, when we had the defeat to Real Valladolid away from home on the first game of the season, the board have asked us this season to win the treble. And it's doable. I paused a little bit there. It's doable. But it's going to be incredibly tough, even just to return to picking up trophies domestically. Barcelona coming off a really poor season last year in the game. You know, my focus this year is just win a trophy domestically, be it a Copa del Rey or La Liga. I'd love a domestic double, don't get me wrong, but even that is going to be really difficult. I'm not really thinking about the Champions League, but again, that game there sort of showed you that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to pick up silverware this season because we're coming into a new team. We've got new tactics, we've got a new system, we've got a ton of new players as well. It's going to take time to gel and get time to get used to this team as well. So slip-ups are going to happen this season. Another one right there against Osasuna, already our second in just our opening 7 games. For the following game though, I was excited for this one. Match day 2, Champions League group stage. Manchester United coming to take us on here at Barcelona, and heading into the game, scored the first goal through you-know-who Ansu Fati, but in the second half, right after the hour mark, I think this guy could make a name for himself as the impact sub in this team. Tammy Abraham comes off the bench and once again for his second in 3 gets another goal to make it 2-0 and his first in the Champions League as well. And what was very comfortable in the end, 2-0 victory there against the Red Devils. So 2 games into the group, we're top with 6 points, a third of the way through. So delighted with that being La Liga right now. Whilst we are the top scorers with 16 in our first 6 games, we've got the best goal difference record with plus 12 as well. Villarreal, man. I mean, you sort of get off to the red hot start there. 5 wins in 6 and no losses so far either. They're the surprise package right now. And that was me thinking it'll be, you know, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, as we know in recent years. Those have been the guys that you'd think would be competing with. But instead, it's Villarreal off to a red hot start at the moment, looking like one of the best teams in the division. But Sterling is indeed going to go to Bayern Munich again. That deal does go through there. £92.5 million for the 31-year-old. And also our fixtures for October as well. There it is. I know you guys have been waiting for it. There it is. Espanyol at home. No, seriously. The penultimate game of October will be the first El Clasico. Very much looking forward to it. And of course, in real life, as we know now, with no Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid, as we know for a couple of years, and now no Messi at Barcelona going to Paris Saint-Germain, it's going to be like a new era of El Clasico rivalries now for the next decade or so, you'd think. A new sort of like set of players and set of, again, rivalries and individual battles as well. So many players from the late noughties and then the early and mid-10s, if you will, 2010s, where, you know, there was so many individual battles and so many classic El Clasico games. Oh man, I'm going to reminisce about them all night thinking about this, but with all the fantastic El Clasico games, it's going to be like a new era now with both Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo gone, and I'm excited to see who of the youngsters are going to come through for both Barcelona and Real Madrid and become like the next stars at those two sides and be prominent in the rivalries between the two teams. So yeah, looking forward to it. But still, for the final games this episode, 4th and final one, Almeria away from home here. Very tough first half. I gave one of the youngsters a debut in Bilbao, Arteta. He got injured early on, so that was typical on his debut, but we waited and waited and waited for a proper good chance. Cucurella missed his, but soon after that, Moise Keane with a skill shot makes it 1-0 and gives us the breakthrough for his 5th of the year. I think he and Ansu Fati are going to have individual battles this season who will be the top scorer for Barcelona and in La Liga. But don't count this guy out off the bench. Yeah, I said earlier, this is going to be our backup striker this year. Not Luka Jovic or any of the other strikers. I mentioned Tammy Abraham, who I decided to keep here. 3 goals, all coming off the bench in 5 games for the former Chelsea striker. And I've got to say, I really like him as an impact sub. Looks very decent indeed at the moment. He's looking like a great source of energy when coming off the bench. With his physicality, his height, his finishing ability as well is definitely on full display right now. So 2-0 final score and return to winning ways there. As we said, it's been for Sesko, and as you can see, we remain in second in the table, 1 point behind the league leaders Villarreal, level with Real Madrid on points as we come into October. Right now, again, it's Villarreal, the team to catch. But that was this episode of the Realistic CM, guys. Big thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, and if you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic CM very soon.